Hi Harish, welcome to this interview. We will record this and publish on social media. I
Yeah,
hope.
okay, sir. Good morning,
Yeah,
sir.
good morning. Harish, you have around 2.5 years of experience in IT space. Uh,
Yes, sir.
can you brief about yourself, what sort of experience you have, and then we can start discussion from there.
Yeah, sure, sir. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to introduce myself. I am Harish. I am from Hyderabad. I completed my graduation in 2021 in from Lovely Professional University. Since then, I have been working in Capgemini as a DevOps engineer. I started my journey as AWS DevOps trainee and then junior DevOps engineer. So I'm currently working in a project which is a network communication project. It is a US based project and it is a microservice project. And in the project, what we do is we will manage the network elements such as there will be OLT and ONE devices. So we will make sure that we will there is a GUI for that, and it is useful for the network administrators to manage the customer services like who has the which connection. And it is a microservice based project, and we store all the data in GitHub, and we use Git as our version control system. And I have expertise in various AWS services like IAM, EC2, VPC, and S3, all those things.
Mhm.
And I have experience in writing Docker files and Jenkins pipeline files, which are used to building and building the Docker image and pipeline.
Okay.
And I have experience in Ansible also. Yeah, that's it, sir.
So this role is that of AWS technical consultant with Infosys. Uh,
Yes.
just let me give you a brief about this role. In this role, you will be expected to work with multiple customers and solve their problems, understand their situation, find out certain gaps in their systems, and then based on maybe automation or your consulting skills, you will be implementing those solutions as well. Have you done that sort of work in your current job?
No, sir. Actually, we had meetings with the clients, but I never this directly. Actually, our pipeline team will have every week call. I mean, internal call will be there every day, but we have pipeline call every Tuesday. So we had meeting with the clients, but not consultants like this.
Is it more of a product that one product that you are working on specifically?
Yes, sir. It's a problem. Actually, the company has the OLT and ONE devices. I mean, it is an US-based company, Huntsville.
And you
So,
have like only experience with one customer. Do you
yeah,
understand that different customers will have different requirements, different?
yeah. So
How,
they have
how,
actual
how-
different. Yes, sir.
yeah, you go ahead.
Yeah, I know different customers have different requirements, but from the beginning, I have been the one project only. Actually, once I joined, I got the training for this project only, and I'm in continuing in the same project. This project is going to end in the next March, but yeah, after that maybe I can get new project if I stay here.
Okay, let's discuss about your AWS skills then, because the role
Okay.
is mainly focusing on AWS consulting role. So,
Yeah.
um, what sort of how do you manage your different AWS environments? How do you manage your dev, staging, QA, prod environments in your company?
So we follow Git branching strategy in Git. So there will have different branches like a dev branch and mainly one master branch is there. So and then we have different feature branches and developers work on the different features and the mind code will go to the production server. Sorry, sir. Yeah, mind code will go to the production server, and we have different pipelines for the each branch. We use multi-branching strategy, multi-branching pipeline strategy. So whenever a developer commits a code, it will go to the complete life cycle, and we use AWS to create the instances for the developers whenever they want to test their code locally. We
Mhm.
use the AWS, and we will be giving the IAM permissions which are required for them, and we also write Terraform files to give them the EC2 instances like that. We will manage AWS like this.
But then, is it how do you deploy these? How pipelines are connected to AWS accounts?
From the Jenkins itself, sir. Once we got the continuous integration process, we will deploy the code into the continuous delivery. I mean, right now we are using Docker Hub. I mean,
Can you
previously
give
we
a
were.
complete overview of your pipeline? I understood there are feature branches, then you deploy
Hmm,
from main branch in production, but
hmm.
how do you deploy from feature branch? And do you deploy to production from feature branch? How does that branch and AWS environment relationship happening? So,
Okay, so I will tell the complete life cycle of our pipeline.
Yeah.
So whenever developer commits a code, we'll be having webhook triggers. So
Yeah.
it trigger the Jenkins pipeline. Once it's trigger, Jenkins pipeline will start the pipeline. So there will be different stages. Like first it will be Git checkout. Anyway, it will be passed because it is directly connected to the Git. And then we have build stages. It will done through it actually a Java based project. It will be done through the Maven, and then we have unit testing, and then we have code scanning through sonar, and then we will be building the docker images with the docker, and then we will be push that image to the any private registry. Previously we were using docker hub, now we are pushing to the ecr. Recently we migrated to ecr, and then we will deploy that to eks cluster. That's how we connected from Jenkins pipeline to aws till uploading the image to the Docker Hub. It is continuous integration. After then, we will be using continuous deployment, which in the EKS.
Right. But you still didn't tell me how do you differentiate between your dev QA and prod account? How will your pipeline know that I have to deploy from a feature branch and I have to deploy to some dev account?
So actually, there will be different pipelines, right? Whenever if you generally feature branch will only, fe- master branch will have separate pipeline every time, and feature branch will have separate pipeline. Whenever if you want to go for the release, then we will merge the feature branch to the main branch. Then it will go for the production. Likewise.
Okay. So these are different pipelines,
Yes, sir.
or is it same pipeline but some sort of branching awareness?
No, sir, completely different repositories will be there. Um, I mean, we use branch strategy, right? There will be, it will show branch and our repository name, and there will be in one stage it will in the branches it is showing feature branches, main branch, and any sub branches. So
Mhm.
like it will there.
Okay. All right. And how do you manage different AWS accounts? Do you have your dev cluster in and production cluster in same AWS account?
I don't have much experience with the production account, but right now we have the same only. So.
So you are mainly as a DevOps engineer for lower accounts, is it? You don't deploy to production?
No, sir. We rarely deploy to the production. We mainly focus on the dev environment.
Are you aware who does that and how that process works?
Slightly aware, sir. Actually, our senior DevOps engineer will do that, and we will take care of the development environments.
But do you never interact with them or they don't tell you how do they merge and how do they deploy?
I know the process, like how they create the clusters, and how do they deploy into the production servers. We use actually the Fargate. We don't use we use Fargate for our containers. Which is serverless. So with Fargate, they will deploy the code. They create Ingress controllers there, and with Ingress controller, they will deploy the code to the
You
production
use
server.
ECS Fargate or you use EKS?
EKS only, sir. We are not using ECS.
Why Fargate?
Yeah, Fargate is a serverless thing, and we no need to manage the containers. Actually, if you manage the containers, there will be we need to monitor everything. I mean to say, if you use the EC2 instance instead of a Fargate, we have to scale up and scale down. But if you use the Fargate, we no need to take care of that. EC2 will, AWS will take care of them scaling up and down based on the traffic.
So you define certain policies and based on that it
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
now tell me if one of our customers says that my Fargate EKS cost is going up dramatically, what steps would you take to control their cost?
Mm, I'm not sure about it. Right.
No awareness on cost optimization?
Yeah, cost automation we can do with the AWS Lambda functions. So we can write AWS Lambda function based on we can integrate with AWS Lambda with the CloudWatch. So we have to give some necessary AWS roles there. So based upon that, AWS CloudWatch always monitor. So according to the metrics and the
Can
things,
everything that is in EKS, your Fargate, can that be converted to AWS Lambda?
yeah, maybe so. I'm not sure.
No worries. Just study about this aspect because with the recession and all that, a lot of customers will be looking for cost optimization. So
Yeah,
you
sure.
would need some consulting there. What
Okay.
strategies are possible in the cost optimization area?
Yeah, sure, sir.
Okay. Now, tell me a little bit about these public and private subnets. Are you aware what they are?
Yeah, sir. Actually, there will be public and private subnet. We will be first of all, there will be one VPC is there. VPC is one of the service by the AWS. In the
Mhm.
VPC, what we do is we will create private network inside the public cloud. So
Okay.
likewise, if you want to deploy any of our applications or our own application, we will first create VPC. In that VPC, we will have public subnet, private subnet, and mostly we will deploy our application inside the private subnet because if we create any instance in the private subnet, it won't get the public IP directly, so there won't be the connection to the public world to the our instance. That's why we use public and private IP, sorry, public and private subnets. And in private the instances which are in the private subnet don't have IP address. If we want to connect to the public private instances, we can use the bastion host which is in the public IP, or
Mhm.
else that too that is very secure private IP. We can do the NACLs at the end at the subnet level. It will increase the security level of to our instances. And there will be a NAT gateway. NAT gateway used to route the traffic from I mean private instances to the outer internet. I mean it just it do the network address translation.
But how will the users will hit my website if everything is private? Then how will they get access to the instance?
Yeah, so there will be NAT gateway. The NAT gateway will have the static IP,
Mhm.
and static if users can hit only static IP, they won't be exposed with the IP of our private instances.
Mhm.
And we will also configure the load balancer in the public subnet. We don't configure load balancer in the private subnet, and we will configure auto scaling group in the private subnet. With the auto scaling group, instances may come up. I mean, instances may vary according to the traffic, and load balancer will route the traffic. And if you want to go to that instance, we can go to the elastic IP of the NAT gateway. So it can it is fixed IP. It
Okay.
won't it Yeah, it is very secure compared to in deploying instance in the
Apart
public
from
IP.
Bastion host, are there other options to connect to private subnet instances?
I think that is the only way we can connect. If they are in the same VPC, we can connect. If we
Yeah,
create
that,
a
but Bastion host is like it's costly for me. I need to have another instance running all the time just to connect to my instances. I don't want to pay for that machine.
okay, then no idea, sir.
Hmm. No worries. Just understand these. There are additional options available, so
Okay,
can study about them.
yeah.
You mentioned about auto scaling situation. The machines get created automatically, destroyed
Mm.
automatically. So if my current situation is I have two EC2 instances, there is an auto scaling event because of high traffic. Maybe you configured your policies correct, everything fine. It created 10 instances. Then something happened in your environment. Some 8 machines got crashed or some error was there, and then you back to 2 machines. How would you investigate those 8 machines? What happened? Because they are not available anymore.
But even though they are not available, there will be watches all the logs. So we can go to cloud watches, we can check what happened to that instances. Generally, if you configure auto scaling group, it can based on the traffic, it will definitely make instances scale automatically. But
Mhm.
if in such cases, we can go to cloud watch and we can check what happened to that instances. Based on that, we can debug, and we can do like we should not make it next time happen.
So what steps you would take to make sure that the logs are available to you? I have my
Um,
Docker application running. How do I get those logs? Or my web application is running on say Tomcat, whatever situation. How do I get my app logs available?
whenever we are creating instance, there we will get the option of enable cloud watch logs. So we have to enable that, otherwise we won't get logs. So
Yeah,
if
but
we
if you
enable it,
enable in AWS CloudWatch logs, how will that CloudWatch logs will know that I have a Docker file, I have an application running on this app, this port, and my logs are going to my folder. Logs are going to folder called /war/Harish. How would that CloudWatch know that I have to pick up logs from here?
mm,
Every
no, sir.
application is different, right?
Yes, sir.
Logs are different.
Yeah,
How would you get those logs?
yeah, need to look into it. So I mean,
Have you created AWS Lambda serverless?
yes, sir, I created AWS Lambda services.
Can you give like when you needed the serverless function and what steps you took?
Servers generally there are two types of computer services: server computer service and serverless. And server is EC2, and serverless is we have Lambda and Fargate. So coming to Lambda, we can use it for the functions which don't require any server. I mean, we have if you want to perform any task, after that we want that instance to be automatically down and go shut down. At that time, we can do serverless functions like AWS Lambda. We
Mhm.
can do AWS Lambda for the cost optimization thing, or we can do any number of things with the Lambda. Like if you want to mainly we can use it for the cost optimization.
Mhm.
For cost optimization, we can say like if there are any unused EBS snapshot, we can write a simple function for that AWS Lambda function. It will check for the all the instances, it will check for all the volumes, and it will check for the snapshot. And we can write the conditions there. If condition like if the snapshot is not connected with the volume, we can delete it. Otherwise, we can check like if your snapshot is connected with the volume, but the volume is not connected with the instance, then you can delete it. Likewise, we can make sure everything is deleted. This is one type of cost optimization. And we can even write a lambda function for the S3 also. If S3 none of the object is retrieved from last certain days, we can delete the S3 buckets. So likewise, we can
Have
do
you
many things.
implemented this setup?
I seen the setup in my organization, but I never implemented.
Any function you have implemented yourself?
No, sir.
No. What sort of language are possible? What sort of platform you would choose if you have to write some function?
Python.
But at least I would suggest you should write at least one Lambda function with your hands. It could be
Yes.
any use case that you have. You
Yes,
can
sure, sir.
build the use case you explained is fine, but at least build it yourself.
Yeah, sure, sir. I will definitely try.
Can you tell me what is high availability and how to achieve that in AWS?
High availability means we have to make sure our application is available all the time. So to make sure we have the high availability, we will use the option of multiple regions and multiple availability zone. There
Mhm.
is regions in AWS. Like AWS has their servers throughout the world, and for every region there will be available certain multiple availability zones. So if we want to deploy our application, we can make sure that we will be deploying in multiple availability zones. Even though when one of the availability zone goes down, we can make sure our application is up and running from the other availability zone. Likewise, we can make sure with the we can make sure the high availability of to our application.
Okay. Can you explain me at least five security best practices that you have implemented in your current project?
Yeah, sure, sir. For security to the instance, first we need to configure security groups. So security groups are the one which control the incoming traffic and outgoing traffic. Mostly, we will control the inbound traffic only. We will give the only required traffic. Likewise, if you want to only 80 port number 80, we
Yeah.
will just give, yeah, we will just allow a port number 80, and anyway we will allow the SSH connection. So likewise, this is one type of security measures. And one more security is we can do it at the subnet level, which is NACLs, network access control list. We can we can create the certain rules like what are the IPs which can come into, or with the NACLs we can also deny rules will be also available. We can also deny what should not be come to our instances. Even though if something is allowed in the security level, and if we blocked at the NACL level, it will be blocked at the NACL level only. So it will be like our extra layer to our instances. And one more thing is giving proper IAM permissions. So if we don't have any proper IAM services, any users can have the access to all the services. So we should not want that. So we will give proper security. Sorry, we will give only proper permissions, and we will give them proper policies. There will be, if you take the S3 bucket, we will
Mhm.
be giving the policy documents. I mean, bucket policies, like who can access the bucket, even though they have the access to the S3, but we can make sure like our bucket won't be deleted. Like we can create the policies for a particular bucket. So likewise, we can make sure our security in the AWS.
Okay. All right. That's about the security things. Any other security product that you have used, WAF or
No, sir. And one more thing, if you want security for the users, we can use multi-factor authentication. That is one type of security I forgot to tell. So even though our username and password got compromised, and we don't let anyone to access our account, because we are enabling the multi-factor authentication. With that, they should have the device, so that otherwise they can't log in.
any security product you have implemented in the pipeline?
No, sir.
Have you used Sonar Cube in the pipeline?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, we use SonarQube in the pipeline. It is used to check the code quality, and it will be checking the code quality, and it will check for the any code bugs are there, and it is check for the code vulnerabilities. So
Mhm.
this is one way to check the code.
Can you give me like two, three examples? What sort of information you get from Sonar analysis?
Yeah, if there are any duplication lines, it will tell. We will be getting like what are the problem with that lines,
Mhm.
and if we have any bugs, I mean there will be option of code smells and all those things. We can check the sonar cube analysis, and then based on that we will notify the developer if there is a failure in any pipeline. First we will try to debug it, and if it is any intermediate issue we will just rerun the build. If it is related to the code according to the sonar cube, we will mention to the developer. He will take care of that.
Okay. Now, in one of the scenario, the customer comes back to you and says the application is not performing well in the
Mm,
production environment.
mm.
Maybe it's your database is not responding properly. What options we have in terms of scaling databases in AWS?
Uh, First database we have RDS service, right?
Mhm.
So we can use RDS service. With the RDS service inside that we can use MySQL and Mongo. Sorry,
So, for example,
Postgres.
you created an RDS cluster with, say, a T3 medium instance. Your customers are complaining now. What options, what things you have?
Sorry, sir, no idea about it.
Okay. So here is I got some idea about your profile, and the feedback that I want to give you is you have very high level understanding of things. You have only understanding of the things that you have worked on. If it is Fargate or some pipeline, you know about it. But if we go anything outside, anything that you have not worked, that's where you are struggling.
Yes.
So if it is you haven't worked in production environment, you don't know about that. You haven't touched base with your seniors in the same company. You haven't understood the complete process. Being in the same organization for like more than 2 years, you should probably have a good understanding of that.
Yeah.
If you have to work on cost optimization or any other security aspects in terms of DevSecOps, you don't understand. Similarly, with auto scaling of databases, or you are not aware of anything that you haven't worked on. Are you certified on any of the AWS exams?
No, sir.
Any Terraform or Kubernetes certification?
No, sir.
So explore that opportunity also, because that shows you multiple scenarios and then tells you how you would solve that in real world. So
Mm.
certifications are a good way. Don't use any dumps, don't use any shortcuts, study about it. They are, especially AWS certifications, very well planned. So that's my honest suggestion. You need to go beyond your role. You need to go beyond, look for other options, especially when you are applying for companies like Infosys, service companies, and these are your target. Even in future, maybe you apply for banks or somewhere, you need to uh, show your skills as a consultant. You need to understand the situation. You may not be providing solution right away, but you should have the
Mm.
options.
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is your problem. We have three different problem solution for you. I will try all these things. I'll do POC, I'll do something, and I'll make sure that the best solution gets implemented. In your case, you are not aware of those options at all.
Yes.
Just being aware of options as a consultant is the primary skill,
Okay.
right? So I'm sure you will do well for this interview. Just go for it in the current state. Don't be like hesitant based on this interview. Look at these options, like how you improve your consulting skills, how you can suggest different options in the interview. Uh, give some sort of options to the employer. If you have to do some scaling, talk about, say, horizontal scaling, vertical scaling. Ask them questions. Okay, can I bring a downtime to the application? Because if you can bring, if you have a downtime window in case of database scaling, you can snapshot it and create a bigger instance or something. You can go for other scaling options available in RDS, which will be expensive, but it will be useful for your short scaling options. So look at all aspects and try to get certified.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Understood.
Any questions you have that you want to clarify?
Yeah, sir. Consultancy service means basically we need to give the suggestions, right? I mean, according to your answer, I got this. Like we need to we should be in a state like we have to answer any situation, like we have to tackle any
Yes.
situation.
Yes, we can't say any situation. Just think, take your time, ask questions, maybe further questions, and then based on that, try to come up with solution. If you were a certified person or something, you would have probably got at least some ideas, because in the certification they will bring such scenarios.
Scenarios. Yeah.
Yeah. And try to build projects or something outside of your organization also. Don't rely on the company to give you all the scenarios and everything that's possible. Try to use certain other resources also. So
Yeah, sure,
build
sir.
some sort of complex projects, maybe cost optimization, DevSecOps, or Kubernetes, or anything that you can uh, do outside company also, because eventually you will be applying for jobs in future also. So having
Mm.
good experience will be helpful.
Yeah, got it, sir.
Anything else before we wrap up?
Yeah, everything fine, sir. I
All
will
right.
prepare my best to
Do share us
perform interview.
how you go with this current interview,
Yeah,
and let's stay connected.
yeah, sure,
Best of
sir.
luck.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye, sir.